Build a new workers' party, a socialist alternative to Sunak and Starmer for a socialist intifada.
Yeah.
What's a socialist intifada?
If I'm being honest with you, I just got this at the stand over there.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually know the definition of the word intifada,
Okay.
but I mean...
Do any of you know the definition of the word intifada? So what about that one?
From the river to the sea.
Yeah. And what does that mean?
Well, it means it's
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What does that mean?
well, it's quite self-explanatory. It needs to be.
Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, isn't it? Because I guess what I mean is, how would that come about? What would happen to the Israelis, etc.?
I don't.
I'm trying to think of how to word it. Isn't it just as self-explanatory as the area of land? It's Palestine's land.
Yeah. So when you say Palestine, which bit do you mean?
Yeah, the Gaza Strip,
So Gaza Strip,
the West Bank.
West Bank.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know. Is there another
I thought it was self-explanatory. I'm getting confused. I thought it was self-explanatory. What about either of you?
Bullshit question.
It's a bullshit question. Why? Well, tell me, why is it bullshit?
I'm not fucking getting involved in this, but it's so like
Is
inflammatory.
everything right?
No, it's just really inflammatory.
Asking what that sign means.
Yeah.
It's inflammatory. Why is that?
Inflammatory there. I'm not getting involved.
Okay. All right.
What's going on, everyone? Sasuke here today, and we're going to be analyzing that. Are leftists smart? I think they are, but I think they just know a lot of things that are not true. And I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but one thing for sure I'm going to title is, it seems like liberals hate, not liberals, sorry, I'm trying to distinguish people. I'm a millennial, modern liberals are progressives at this point. But leftists seem to hate critical thinking. You saw in the intro, you saw the guy at the end, he had nothing to add to the conversation. He had no information to impart and cure my good friend asking questions of his ignorance. No, he just tried to use emotionalism, try to smear him. And you see, this is a common tactic that the left like to portray, because in reality, a lot of people on the left cannot defend the very visions and things that they want to enact in policy, right? So, like, for instance, the river to the sea thing. I asked a simple question, and any critical thinker will ask this question. How are you going to get Israel to move from a land it does not want to move from? You have to kill them, or you have to go to war with them. Why do you think that borders exist? You think they're going to go away quietly into the night? They're going to be like, oh, okay, you're right. Yeah, this is your land. Even though we've been here first. And the only reason we got displaced from this land is because Rome came over and took over the Middle East. Let's not forget about that little bit of history. But yeah, it's Palestine's place. Let's leave. In human history, people have been displaced. People has been conquered. That's just the name of the game. That's just reality. There's no morality to it. It's just, hey, the future generations of those people should not suffer for the sins that they did not even commit. Because at the end of the day, Jewish people born in Israel today, that's their land. And Palestine that were born in their little strip, that's their land. That's it. You holding grudges of your ethnic group's past to justify your hatred today. It's ridiculous. This is why I don't want us involved. As Americans, I don't want us involved in this mess. But I digress. Right? And you see how, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of these socialists, they're like busybodies. And there's a comment that I want to highlight here. They have no idea what they're protesting for. It just seems to be the thing these days. Protest because everyone else is doing it. Although we don't know why we're protesting. We live in Wilder world. Exactly. It's a popularity context. Like my biggest argument against a lot of people on the left is that I don't think they stand on principle. They stand merely on virtue signaling. They just want to appear good, right? It's in some self-centered way of proving how self-righteous they are, how good of a people they are, right? And this is the reality, that the left don't care about the truth. They care about popularity. They want their ideas to be popular. They want their ideas to be adopted, regardless if it's actually correct or not. Here's an example. I'll give you guys multiple examples about why the left doesn't like critical thinkers. The main reason why diversity incentives fail is ironically because human diversity at both individual and group levels. Even when people are given the exact same opportunities and options, they make different choices and achieve unequally. Yes, everyone has a right to try out for the team. Not everyone will make the team. And if you do make the team, you're not going to play the same position. You're not going to have the same playing time. You're not even going to score the same amount of points. So I don't understand this idea of equal outcome. Equal outcome is never been achieved in all of human history. And to pretend that equal outcomes is the rule and not the exception is the reason why a lot of these emotional leftists fail at actually ushering in their vision of the world. This is why they can believe in fairy tales like socialism and communism and think there's some utopia at the end of it. And then when they get the reality of socialism, it's just totalitarianism. It's just authoritarianism. It's just you're forced to work in behalf of a small collective group of people who happen to work in the government. This is why a lot of these socialists, they always love government reform, government to get involved, government intervention into private lives, government to guarantee lifestyle, even though they don't understand that they're giving up some level of individual freedom and control. This is what the WEF want, except at a global perspective. They're global socialists at that point. But the left don't see it because all they care about is what they're going to get out of it, how they feel about it, not the reality. I digress. Why? Because of diversity. 5 children raised under the same roof by the same parents with the same rules will end up with different careers, incomes, lifestyles, and sometimes drastically. True, that's true for me because I made different choices than he did. You can't even achieve equality of outcome amongst siblings, yet people expect it across gender, nationalities, ethnicities, cultures, social economic backgrounds. Ridiculous, a complete pipe dream and an affront to fairness, liberty, and dignity. Equal opportunity is the only thing the government can guarantee. Like I said, this has been my main point. The government is merely the referee. The government shouldn't be sitting here trying to, it's kind of unfair. I'm going to make more calls for this team because they're kind of losing the game and it's going to be a blowout. I want them to be more competitive, so I'm going to make more calls favorable to them. No, you can't make lopsided calls based on your own personal discretion of fairness. This is the reality of the left-wing thought. Left-wingers, they call misinformation, disinformation, anything that goes against their worldview, because they don't want to defend with their arguments. They don't want to sit here and say, "Well, I just believe it should be the case." No, look at reality. You're hurting a lot of people by doing this stuff. Affirmative action is a big talking point that I talk against a lot, because that shows the hypocrisy of the left. Look, let's look for example. Racial bean counters automatically attributes statistical differences between black and whites to racial discrimination, which in my view is a lazy way of thinking. So you think black and whites do exactly the same thing? This is my argument has been the whole time. What decides your outcomes? Your behaviors or your skin color? But they never attribute statistical difference between whites and Asians to discrimination. Exactly. When banks approve a higher percentage of loans to white applicants than black applicants, that is automatically called discrimination. But when Asian Americans are approved at a higher rate than whites, it is not. Nor is it called discrimination when Asians do better than whites on SAT scores, unemployment rates, or income. Right? They always got a cop out because all it is to sow dissatisfaction in the oppressed group. The oppressed group is pretty much the group that's at the bottom of the societal totem pole, economically anyway. Like, oh, you guys, because the whole point of the left and the leftists, they want a revolution, a socialist revolution. And you think someone who's making a lot of money that's successful in a capitalistic system, you think they're going to be going up in arms to destroy the system? No, they won't. This is why they target minorities. This is why they target the poor. The uninformed, the ignorant, the emotional, because they're more likely to start a revolution. They're more likely to protest. And you see it, right? Look, Asian parents filed lawsuits claiming New York's STEM program discriminates in favor of blacks and Hispanic students. When we come out here as conservatives and say, hey, when you see color, this is what you do. You think this is fair because you see color. But if you don't see color, you're going to say, hey, we shouldn't be discriminating against one group for a preference of the other group. We should only judge them based on their merit. And if this happens to be overwhelmingly that group, so be it. That's meritocracy. That's color blindness. But when you see color, you justify this stuff. You try to rationalize this stuff, even though morally it's not consistent. And it's always these left-wing places here. New York City Department of Education. Because leftists think in this tone. They claim other people are racist, but they claim conservatives are racist because conservatives don't want to acknowledge race as a criteria for a group's failing in life. And I subscribe to that logic. I believe when a group fails, it's due to their own culture, abilities, lack of talent, lack of ability to educate and pass down correct and objective and valuable knowledge to the next generation, and then the next generation end up fumbling the bag too. The only generational curse that I can subscribe to the black community is the fact that for generations we've been given bad information, bad tactics, bad habits that are not conducive to success, economic success in our country. Instead, all black people get handed down is a hustle. Oh, here's how you use your race to portray yourself as a victim. Here's how you use your race to absolve yourself from accountability. That's what the black community gets passed down from. My final point, to really hammer this point home, for a long time, conservatives have been talking about how puberty blockers aren't reversible. And the left, biggest talking point was, oh, the people in authority says it's possible. People in authority say puberty blockers are reversible or are not. Does not have been any proof that puberty blockers actually hurt kids. And as a common sense individual, without any statistics, I can go, you're interfering with your natural state of your body. That can never be a good thing. You're supposed to be like this, and you're using outside factors to adjust what's inside of you, and you think you're not gonna have any adverse effects to it. Like this, it's baffling how much we lost a lot of common sense. Common sense essentially is you have a common assumption about things that are objectively true. That's what common sense is. Man cannot be a woman. Okay, therefore, any attempt to make a man a woman is going to be detrimental to the health of that man. Period. That it's so simple. I don't understand how the left can't understand this. Now, there are people with authority are starting to realize and starting to portray, hey, talk doctors in the transgender field admits puberty blockers aren't so reversible. Wow. So you're telling me Matt Walsh, a man that only graduated high school, was able to predict something that these college-educated doctors just started now to reveal. Oh, we need proof. Okay, so when another man says it, he don't have the credentials. This is why I hate this culture that we live in. We have a credentialized culture where if you don't have the right degree, the right education, people use that as a way of writing off your arguments, which is dumb because that's a fallacy to authority. We all know that's a fallacy. Just because people of authority or a certain credential says something does not necessarily make it true. It makes it highly probable it might be true, but that doesn't make it automatically, oh, the authority on, okay, it's true. This is true. And this is what we need to get away as a culture. Let's look at some of the findings, right? On the unknown impact of puberty suppression on the brain development, there seems to do reasonably the same as their friends, but we are not looking at their IQ or their learning ability and lots of other things. Possible side effects on puberty blockers being more evasive than portrayed in media. Puberty blockers are just reversible and it's very non-invasive treatment. I would say it's more invasive than oftentimes the media make it out to be or other people. The left. See, when the left want their stuff, they try to portray it as it's the best thing since sliced bread. The left been wrong about a lot of things. All you have to do is challenge them on an empirical level. Hey, prove your work. Show me your work. The left got crickets because all they live in is an imagination. Their imagination of how things should be. And then they want everyone to just go along with it without any resistance, without any step backs, without any critiques. These people they don't live in reality. There's two worlds that we seem to live in our current political culture, in our currently politically polarized culture. A group of people that live in the world of reality and a people that live in the world of imagination, like I like to say, the world of words. They do things that sound good while people want to do things that is good. And sometimes what is good does not always seem what looks good. For instance, a good thing is not letting low-skilled workers immigrate into the United States where they'll have an even harder time to survive and they'll need more help from our system, and they become a drag on the system, and they cause social friction because people are like, yo, I'm paying taxes and this person's not paying taxes because he doesn't have the ability to sustain himself in our society. I think A good thing is not preventing that person from not allowing to be in the country. Hey, you don't have the skills to make it in this country. Stay over there. Stay in your country. Stay in Mexico, because you can't make it out here, right? And you're gonna put a burden on our people. We can't allow you in there. That's a good thing in my view, but it doesn't look good. It looks like, oh, you're just excluding that person. But this is the real life. Life isn't fair. Based on me and someone else can be black. The fact that I was born in Miami, in a coastal city, I will have more job opportunities than a black person who was born in rural America. No one says that's not fair. No one's trying to make policies to create railroads from the coast to the rural areas. No one's complaining about that unfairness. But if a white man makes more money than a black man, y'all cry, racial discrimination, systematic racism. Systematic racism doesn't exist. And if it does, show me where. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for systematic racism to stop me. But, I digress. I've ranted enough. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think leftists are bright people? Do you think leftists are smart people? Or do you think they're just misinformed, heavily misinformed, and they think they know everything? I don't know. Because these people are the most condescending people I ever met in my life. And they're usually wrong about a lot of things when you ask them when you actually scrutinize their ideas and their worldview. But I digress. Enough rambling from me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I really like to hear your perspective on this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.